Hi, it's James Taylor here. I was at an event the other day and someone came up to me and they asked me a question about what it takes to master the game of creativity, what it takes to become really, really good at this thing we call creativity, regardless of whether you're a writer, an author, a musician, a songwriter, an entrepreneur, a painter. What does it take to win at this game? So my answer to him was to break it down to two different things you need to master to really be great at creativity. The first is the craft. So this is where we talk about really mastering your craft depending on what the thing is that you actually do. So if you're a writer, it's mastering the craft of writing, the actual techniques and those skills that you need to have. And if you're a musician, it's mastering the crafts of being able to write and perform a great song. It also though includes the craft of being able to bring people on board on what you're doing. So it does involve a little bit of the kind of business side or the bit of marketing what you're doing as well. It's no good just creating great art producing great things but then actually not telling the world about it. So there's this first part, is that really understanding you have to get mastery of the craft of what you're doing, and there's some great courses out there depending on what your thing is on how to develop that craft, both in terms of the actual making of the thing and in the marketing of the thing that you do as well. So that's the first part, is this idea of craft. But then there's this other thing that you need to master, which is the art of what you're doing. So you can become a great craftsperson at what you're doing, become very, very skilled and have great technique at what you're doing, but not really have any artistry about it. You can become great at being able to be the best person at doing these types of widgets, but the work feels very cold. There's nothing new about what you're doing, and one of the defining characteristics of something that is creative, it has to be new or novel. So that's where the artistry, the art, comes into. Now that part is actually much more difficult. With that first one, if you listen to Malcolm Gladwell, it'll be 10,000 hours. You can learn a skill. I was watching something the other day, a TED talk, which I'll put on the show notes here as well, which actually said you can actually become proficient in something in about 20 hours. But let's say anywhere between 20 to 10,000 hours to really develop the skills. The artistry is something different. And what I would say in terms of the artistry is often it's best to get your inspiration from people outside of the particular thing that you do. So as an example, if you're a musician, to find inspiration in the ways that other creatives have approached painting. If you're an entrepreneur, thinking about the ways that perhaps Stoic philosophers have come up with new ideas, or the ways that musicians have come up with ideas. I mean, the number of entrepreneurs I speak to when I ask them who is their hero, and they'll actually mention some musician, some rock musician or something. So when you're thinking about the artistry, that's much harder to learn because it's a personal journey. The very nature of it is you have to find different inspirations, learn from those things, mold it together and create your own new and novel thing. Now, in a lot of the videos I've filmed already for The Creative Life, there's lots of lessons in there on how to start developing this artistry. But if you break it all down, what does it require to win at creativity? It requires for you to master two things: to master your craft and master the art of what you do. Those are the two things. So maybe take a little bit of a stock check just now. Where are you with your craft of what you're doing? And if you've actually really developed a very good craft of what you're doing, and it's not really happening for you, then maybe have a look at the art. Or possibly the other way, if you've got all these great ideas but you don't have the technical skills to be able to execute them well, or to promote them well, then look at the craft of what you have to be doing. Hi, it's James here. Did you enjoy that episode? If so, there's two things that we can do to continue the journey together. Firstly, I would love if you to subscribe, give us 5 stars and leave a comment. Secondly, if you go to jamestaylor.me and enter your name and email address, I'm going to send you some free goodies all around creativity and innovation. Look forward to continuing the journey together.